uncharacteristic start for Kyle Busch there. He didn't jump out in front.
Well, it's not over yet. This lap isn't done.
He's able to hang on that right rear quarter panel, Phil. He's up beside Ron Hornaday going down into turn 3. It's very difficult to keep your truck up under you when you've got another truck on the outside.
Problems already. There goes Ron Hornaday. He turns around. Into the wall he goes. The left front of the truck. And problems with the 71 getting into him as well.
Johnny Benson got a piece of that. He got a piece of Ron Hornaday.
Johnny Benson, yes, on the right side of that truck, more damage. These two trucks separated by just 6 points, and they didn't even make it to the start-finish line for lap 1.
I'm telling you, how reminiscent of that is a couple years ago when Johnny Benson and Mike Skinner, look at all the damage on this VFW Chevrolet.
Johnny Benson got away with it. He drove off, got some tires, and came through the field to win the race. Ron Hornaday is done. This truck's got to go to the garage area for a lot of work. It's torn up severely. He will be behind the wall possibly for the majority of the night. I told you when they went down into turn 3, a key moment on that lap was when they exited turn 2. Kyle Busch hung right there on Hornaday. Made Hornaday try to drive the bottom when he got to turn 3, and that's hard to do. Tires are cold. You're pinching your truck down. Next thing he knows he's spinning out.
But Ron Hornaday, he is beside himself right now saying, how did I let this happen? Why did I race Kyle Busch into that corner so hard? Look how much damage he has to that truck. I'm not sure. They'll get this truck back on the racetrack, but he's probably destined not to finish in the top 25 or 30.
And Johnny Benson's damage is minimal. I don't care what's the right side of that truck looks like. It didn't appear that anything hit his right front tire. It was right behind the front tire. I think that truck's going to be fine.
Take another look. This is getting into turn 3.
Kyle Busch just drives up on the outside of him, gives Ron plenty of room, but Ron slides up the hill and gets into Kyle Busch.
Had to chase that truck up the hill. He made contact. Kyle does a nice job saving his truck, but Ron Hornaday cannot keep that truck out of the outside wall. And J.R. Fitzpatrick, who had a great qualifying effort, came in and made some pretty hard contact with the 33 of Hornaday.
They're still wrecking.
Adam, down here in the 33 pits, lots of work to be done on this VFW Chevrolet. Ron Hornaday came on the radio and said, my bad, guys, I had too much rear brake dialed into this truck. The rear track bar is broken. They'll have to replace that. On the front, it appears the radiator is busted, and the left front A-frame is definitely broken. So they'll have to put front suspension on this thing. They'll have to take all the ductwork out of the front. They'll probably remove the hood and the front fenders, and they've got to get a rear track bar put in here. It does not appear that the frame on the back side of this truck is in any problem, so we will see whether or not they have to do any power work on that. I think they'll be able to remove sheet metal here, but the big question is, can they get that spoiler back up in the air to get some downforce on this thing for Hornaday to be able to keep the minimum speed?
Now let's take another look, and we've got to look at the big picture here.
You got to give Kyle Busch a lot of credit. Look how high Kyle was up at the racetrack. He didn't go down in that corner and pinch Ron down. He gave him all the room he could give him, and he probably understood that Ron was loose up under him, but Kyle couldn't have done anything else.
No, he really couldn't have. He got up absolutely as far as he could. Here's another look at it right here. You see him drive down in the corner. Ron is on the bottom. Kyle gives him plenty of room, but Ron has to chase this truck. He gets loose down there in the bottom. We see it happen so often, and here's a 3-time champion that it happened to. He got a little bit too loose. We heard Ron say on the radio that he had a little bit too much rear brake in it. You don't use as much rear brake getting down in turn number 3 as you do down in turn number 1, but when you have too much rear brake, it wants to slide that rear end out, and that may have been exactly what happened to Ron.
Well, he definitely entered the corner loose, and he couldn't turn the wheel to the left. You know, he wanted to turn it to the left, but he knew if he did, the back end would come around. As he slid up the hill, he had the wheels turned to the left, made contact with the truck of Kyle Busch. Look at the visibility I'm talking about. These guys are just trying to figure out a way to get through it.
That's Jack Sprague right there in his Weiler.com Toyota. He makes a little bit of contact with the 40 of Mike Bliss. There's another Ron's on board. You see him had to chase that truck up the hill. He tries to get back in the throttle to keep it out of the outside wall, but unfortunately just, and there's the contact from J.R. Fitzpatrick.